My name is Ferri and welcome to my channel. I'm going to dive right into the documentary The Keepers, episode 5. Don't worry, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm not giving much away. I'm basically commenting from a Kundalini Yoga practitioner's point of view, an intuitive energy healer's point of view, a spiritual counselor's point of view, on this juicy documentary that brings so much light to the table about abuse and manipulation and control and God and church and love and time. Ooh, I know, so deep. And as you're watching this video, I will teach you some techniques today. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, heatherferri.com. That is actually my website that shows my private practice of 20 years and what I do. I am transitioning into my spiritual name, which is Sangeeta. So let's get right to it. In episode 5, we're introduced to one of the students that was hired by the priest to type and take notes on all of the girls coming in for counseling. But all of the things she was typing out really had to deal with sexual notes and abuse and body notes and having pelvic exams. And so years later, when this girl turns into a woman and she's learning about in 1994 there was a legal case against some of the priests, she starts to do some thinking on her own, and she starts to connect to her group on Facebook, and she starts to realize that she wants to confront this particular priest, and she finds out that he is in a dementia department. And she makes her way into that department and navigates to be able to face him face to face. And what I find helpful about her observations is that when she looks into his eyes, there's nothing left. He's gone. Early 60s too. So something took him. So she wasn't able to really have a conversation with him. This brought up my experiences working in senior homes. I have been hired to go in and do Kundalini meditations for memory loss, and usually after a few classes my students become more comfortable with me, and I would always get there, sometimes 10 minutes early to prepare. And 1 or 2 or 3 people would stroll in, and as time went on, they would share their stories with me. I was amazed that they could remember the details of either their child abuse or their domestic abuse, the details of, a marriage when they were 27 years old. And this got me thinking, how does the brain, this computer chip, work? And why is it that these memories that are haunting their soul are still so much alive? And so I would counsel them, and I would hear them, and I would allow them to have a voice. And this began my healing, because honestly, I did not want to end up like them. So today I'm going to teach you Curtain Kriya. In Kundalini Yoga, it's a little famous. A lot of doctors have written books about this particular medical meditation. We do it in yoga class for mental clarity and focus. Some people find it very helpful at night for sleep. And, when people have disabilities, I work with stroke clients. This is great for motor skills as well. I've done it in previous videos, but you've heard that famous saying, practice takes perfect, so we're going to practice it. Your hands can be on your lap, and I'm going to have them up so you can see. You're pressing on each finger starting with the pointer. You have sa, ta, na, ma, and then you take an inhale as you open the hands, and then you begin again. Let's do it. Satanama. 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 That's the first meditation I learned, I don't know, 17, 20 years ago. It's been a long time. Another section of episode 5 that I want to mention is there's these families that come together and they talk about how the men in their families, they feel that they were involved with the murder of Sister Kathy. And they talk about how these particular men were not drinkers, and then all of a sudden they were. And I found that observation to be important for us. We can learn from that because people change behavioral patterns. And so they recognized that something was different with the loved ones that they knew. Why were they drinking? What were they trying to suppress? What were they trying to forget? And what haunted them? And so as a practitioner, I work a lot with clients and who drink, and the question is, why are you drinking? And it's not a judgment, but a lot of times I find that people are not drinking for the pleasure of how it tastes with the fish or their meal. They're drinking to cover up something, and it becomes a vice for them. And so one of the things that I researched was it's estimated that 140 million people in the world are actually considered alcoholics. I didn't realize that. And did you know that alcohol disrupts the vibrational channels that allow spiritual development? Well, that made sense to me because I'm an intuitive. I read energy and auras very well. So there's 2 signs I can tell if somebody's been drinking. One is the tone of their voice. It's usually rigid and constricted and tight. The second is their aura is weak. Their eyes tend to be fogged or like a glazed. And the one thing that I was reading about is it blocks the heart, which would make sense. Your heart is a part of your magnetic field. And so Yogi Bhajan, who was the master who brought the science of Kundalini Yoga over to the United States in 1968-69, some of his thoughts were this. Yogi Bhajan, he talks about the need to face reality. There is a root cause to why a person drinks. And by drinking, a person is only getting further from the truth. So taking responsibility of self is key. And 3rd chakra Kundalini Yoga work can be very beneficial in developing your willpower, your self-worth, so that you feel stronger, so you can endure problems, so you can face problems, so you can create the changes that you need to create. So I thought I would finish this video with a meditation that sometimes you do in a Kundalini Yoga class, but you also do it in Kundalini brain protocols, which is what I specialize in. Geo means soul. And we're going to say Geo like a tape recorder 7 times, and then take a breath, and then say it again 7 times, and then take a breath. When I'm done with this, you can shut off the computer and just sort of continue Geo if you want, or sit in silence and see if anything comes up for you. If anything comes up, write it down. That's the first thing I do with clients. Okay, are you ready? And you can have your hands in what we would call mudra. So thumb to pointer, sitting on your lap. You can look at me, Or you can close your eyes and focus at the third eye. Geo, 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 Geo. 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 Beautiful. If you haven't subscribed, do so below Satnam TV. I'd love to hear any comments or questions below. I wish you a blessed day. Satnam.